Hey everyone, I'm Kevin with JcrOffroad. In this video, we're going to show you how to install a set of our ditch light mounting brackets on this 2023 Ford Maverick. So in my hand, I have the driver's side bracket that you can kind of see here. Obviously, you will receive a pair, but we're just going to show you how to install this on one side, again being the driver's side over here. The only thing you really need to get this installed is a 14mm socket or wrench, depending on what you want to use there. And the only other thing that goes along with it is a small rubber bumper that we'll show you how to install in the hole up here. So first things first, you're going to need to pop the hood to access that hood mounting hardware. That, if you don't already know, is just a small lever kind of down by your left foot when you're sitting in the driver's seat. Once you raise the hood, this is the location you're looking for. You can see the hood mounting bracket as well as the hood being held together with two nuts in this location. Those are what we're going to have to remove. That's what we'll be using to bolt our bracket in place. Before you loosen either of these up, something you can do to help maintain an accurate gap between the hood and the fender down here is just take a marker. I have a Sharpie here, but you could use a paint marker or whatever, and just kind of trace out a couple spots on this bracket. That way you can get it back as close as possible to the same position that it started in from the factory. Now also, before you loosen up that hardware, you want to make sure that you have the provided rubber bumpers in place on the bracket. So with the bracket in this orientation, you'll be placing the bumper on the top side in the 1/2 inch hole you have up here. The way these go in, you take the smaller diameter end of the bumper and just kind of start it diagonally into the hole and then sort of twist it around until it pops down in. If you're having any trouble at all with this, you can put just a little bit of WD-40 on there or some other kind of multi-purpose oil or lubricant. Trying to get just a little bit out here without making a mess. And that will just kind of help to work that in. And then again, if that's giving you any trouble, you can get a small pick or a flat screwdriver down in there to help pull that remaining edge all the way through. Then we just want to wipe up any excess that's left on there. So at this point, you kind of want to have your bracket handy or close by. You then need your 13mm socket or wrench. I may have said 14 earlier on. If so, I apologize, but it is a 13 in here. Now, with the way this is set up, you will have to remove both nuts at the same time. So you want to make sure you have a good hold on the hood itself. Now, we do have the hood prop and the other mount on the other side, so it's not totally going to fall off the vehicle or anything there. But the big risk is that the corner of the hood down here falls down and contacts the fender or the glass or anything like that and potentially damages anything in there. So use some caution there. You can shove some rags in if that helps you out, makes you feel a little better. If you have a friend close by to be an extra set of hands, that's great. This can be done with one person, so I'm going to show you how to do that here. I'm just going to grab the bottom corner of the hood with my right hand in this scenario, kind of putting my hand between the fender and the hood, and then I'll come in here and remove both of these. I'm just going to loosen both to get started here, and then we'll get these removed. This is where it gets just a little tricky when doing it with one person. You now need to get your bracket kind of in here around the hood as well as up onto both of these studs and still be able to reinstall the hardware. So kind of carefully get that into place. And then I am using my right hand, just a couple fingers there to support that top side of the bracket. With one nut on it, I can usually just let go of the bracket here, only supporting the hood, grab the other nut, and get this going back into place. This is when you want to start paying attention to your alignment of both the hood and the bracket itself before we tighten anything up. So if you had this marked out earlier on, you can line your mark back up here. You can see through a cutout in our bracket right here. So if you had a good mark down the side, that should help you out as well. And then a good starting point for bracket alignment is just to make sure that it's pretty much even with the side of the bracket out here, the factory bracket that is, and then same thing in this scenario. That should set you up for success. Again, you may have to come in here and make some minor adjustments to this once or twice before everything is said and done. So then grab your 13 and tighten these back up. And now we'll kind of close the hood and see what things look like on the top side. Now I did go over and already remove the hood prop so that we could drop this live on camera. Basically, as you lower this down, you want to be paying close attention to the gap between the hood and the fender through here, as well as everything up close to the top of the bracket in here, just making sure that there's no weird interference. And then when it looks like things are going to clear safely, we'll go ahead and shut this all the way. Now for me, it does look just a little tight here, so I may come back and adjust that a little bit here at the end. But other than that, we're looking good. And then we'll come up here and take another closer look at things. Now up here, it's gonna be quite hard to show you on camera, but the rubber bumper is kind of right in this location, just inside of the main light mounting bracket. It's supposed to hit the bottom of this sort of thin pinched surface along the back edge, so kind of right in this location. So just pay attention to that and see how that's looking and lining up. And then it's just a matter of getting your light bolted on here once you're happy with the alignment of your bracket. Now, every light is going to be just a little bit different depending on which manufacturer you get it from and the style of mounting bracket and hardware that they use. So what we found as we went to pop this one on here is that the hardware is a little bit longer than we'd prefer. You can see how close it gets to the hood down here. So I am going to find a shorter bolt for that. In this case, this light uses a 5/16 bolt, so I'll find something just a little bit shorter and we can press on. So in our case, just as a reference, that was about a 1-inch long bolt that they provided. We switched this out for a 3/4 long 5/16 bolt. And now, hopefully without getting my hands too much in the way, so that you guys can see what's going on here, we can get this bolted down. So I'm just gonna start the hardware by hand, and then we'll slide that in to our desired position and tighten things up. Now again, this is going to vary for everyone, but since we're using 5/16 hardware, I'll need a 1/2-inch wrench here, and this brings up another good point or something to pay attention to. You can see here how close the wrench gets to the painted surface of the hood. Use your discretion there and kind of just be sure you're comfortable with what you're doing. You can always add some painter's tape or even just a rag between these two surfaces while you tighten this up. So from here, I just have to work to tighten that nylock nut that we are using. And then once I feel that getting close, we'll kind of stop so that we can work on the final light placement and alignment. Now until these are wired up, you're not really going to know where your light is aiming, so I'm going to aim it just a little bit out toward the side, make sure we're happy with where it looks visually, and tighten it in place. And then it does look like I'm going to need to tighten the kind of vertical adjustment hardware in the side here as well. From there, it is a little bit hard to see as well, but we provide you a couple small holes down the inside edge of the bracket so that you can use some small zip ties or cable ties to tidy up these wires routing down under the hood. Once you get your wiring tied up to your bracket over here, you can really just repeat these steps over on the other side to complete the installation process. Now from there, you are going to have to wire these in somehow, and how you do that is really entirely up to you. If this is the only electrical accessory you're adding, you can find just a single accessory switch to wire up and tie these in. If you're doing a bunch of electrical accessories, you're probably installing some sort of multi-switch controller, and you'll just be tying these into that under the hood. So once you figure out how you want to do that and you get everything wired up, obviously go ahead and check these and make any adjustments you need to, and then your installation will be complete. Now, as always, if you have any questions about this bracket installation or anything else we offer here at JCR Off-Road, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always email us at info@jcroffroad.com or call us at 269-353-1184.